All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And today, we got a really cool topic to talk about. Andrew Yang is getting a bunch of pushback from a comment they made on the debate stage that Amy Klobuchar responded to, and both Wolf Blitzer and Rachel Maddow have been pushing the pushback, and it's kind of become a thing that a lot of people are asking us about. So we were going to illuminate your mind as to how America has interfered in other elections and what actually does interference mean, and so on and so forth. Cody, tell us what's going on.
Well, I guess the source way to go with the actual controversy is on the debate stage. I have an article right here from The Hill, I believe. It says Yang compares U.S. election tampering to Russia's election interference efforts.
Bad headline. Bad headline.
He didn't. So here's the quote from Andrew Yang. So on the debate stage, Andrew Yang, I believe one asked about election interference 2016 and what he would do to prevent it. Here we go. This is what he said. He said, we have to let Russia know, look, we get it. We've tampered with other elections. You've tampered with our elections. And now it has to stop. And if it does not stop, we will take this as an act of hostility against the American people. Now, Amy Klobuchar, like I said, on her Hail Mary debate play, where everything she had to jump in on and say something, she says, I don't see a moral equivalency between our country and Russia. It was much more serious than meddling in 2016 that Russia's actions constituted an invasion of U.S. elections. I just want to point out, to be fair, Andrew Yang never made any more equivalencies. He just said, we both do it. You got to stop doing it with us. But that's not the story.
But that's, Cody, I just want to press pause here for a second. And I want our audience to realize this is the crap that people have been pointing out for years. When something was talked about, they say, oh, Andrew Yang, you mentioned both Russian and American interference. You're making a moral equivalence, aren't you? And no. They were not injecting that motive in there. That's fake news. This is what we mean by fake news. Continue.
Yes. Anyways, the story, though, is that I've been watching the post-debate interviews in the last few days.
Yeah.
And a couple nights ago, I want to say recording on Friday, I believe it was Wednesday, Andrew Yang was actually on Wolf Blitzer show on CNN, The Situation Room. And he actually asked Andrew Yang to follow up with that question. And we have the question here. 1 second.
At one point during the debate last night, you said that both Russia and the United States have tampered with elections. I'll read the quote. We have to let Russia know, look, we get it. We've tampered with other elections. You've tampered with our elections. And now it has to stop. You got a little heat for that, for doing this equivalency between the U.S. and Russia. Explain what you meant.
Well, I said what the American people all already know. We have to protect our...
I'm not going to get too far into Andrew's answer yet. We'll talk about that later. But seeing that Wolf Blitzer show honestly wasn't too weird. Because I was like, okay, it was one of the few... I mean, Andrew Yang, again, was one of the people who spoke the least at the debate. Whatever. What's the big deal? It's something he talked about in the debate stage. It is weird. He never made any equivalency. He literally just said, both of us do this thing. Maybe if you do it to us, we'll take it as a sign of aggression. Actually, I don't want to go back too far, but the way he words it, he says that he basically threatens Russia. He says, if you do not stop, we will take this as an act of hostility against the American people. Now, Amy Klobuchar apparently wasn't tough enough for her because it was actually an invasion of U.S. elections. Both those seem pretty severe to me, man. I don't know why people are acting like, oh, Yang softballed Russia. But, again, I wasn't thinking anyone thought that really either until we watched him on Rachel Maddow last night, actually on stream with you guys. And check out the way Maddow pushes them on, again, the same issue.
Russia and the potential interference in our election in 2020 and pushing back against them. Senator Klobuchar essentially accusing you of making a moral equivalence between us and Russia from when you said we've tampered with other elections. Yeah. How do you respond to what she said there?
Well, I didn't respond to the night of because I think most Americans realize I was just making a point that we know America has historically interfered in other countries' elections, at least in our past.
Like what?
Well, there have been a number of, and I don't want to go through the
Do you have like a specific one that's in mind? That's one that bugs you?
There are a couple in the, let's say, in our hemisphere that I think
just
are
in our hemisphere. Name a country in our hemisphere, and we've done it.
Examples. But
if you're not cheating, you're
not
trying.
Americans realize that.
Exactly, and again, well, if you guys want to watch the full interviews, I'll try to get the links for you guys.
That was actually the first time I've seen Yang flustered.
Well, also, even realized Rachel Maddow, she was like kind of looking at him like, just say it. Just say like Iran. You know what I mean? Just say it. Just say a word.
Just throw a dart at the country. Actually, I can't think of a time where we've done it in Argentina's electoral history, We've definitely cooperated with operations to try and get Nazis out of Argentina. But in terms of elections, we've never had a massive amount of interests in Argentina that there's been a desire to tamper with, actually. Argentina, Paraguay, and post-Pinochet, there's been no real reason for us to ever be in Chile. So South America has been widely preserved since the 60s of any problems. In Bolivia, oh my gosh, we killed Che Guevara in Bolivia, okay? I mean, yeah, sure. It was the Bolivians. Yeah, with a bunch of rifles and helicopters that said "Made in America" stamped on the side.
Well, how about this though? I have an example actually about Russia. Now, again,
okay,
it is worth noting the pushback Yang's been getting has been to an alleged moral equivalency he never actually made. But Rachel Maddow said just name one country, and for whatever reason he didn't. So we're gonna pull up. I thought it was a funny story. Now, I think it would be worth noting, as Amy Klobuchar kind of brought up, that this election in Russia, the 1996 election in Russia, wasn't exactly just kind of like, whatever. Just another, it was, this was just after the end of the Cold War. It was right around the fall of the Soviet Union. Like, this was like an important election for the American government. But here's a story about what happened in that election. Here we go. So the Clinton administration sprang into action. It lobbied the International Monetary Fund to give Russia a $10 billion loan, some of which Yeltsin distributed to woo voters. Upon arriving in a given city, he often announced, "My pockets are full." 3 American political consultants, including Richard Dresner, a veteran of Clinton's campaigns in Arkansas, went to work on Yeltsin's re-election bid. Every week, Dresner sent the White House the Yeltsin campaign's internal polling, and before traveling to meet Yeltsin in April, Clinton asked Dresner what he should say in Moscow to boost his buddy's campaign. Sorry, I'm going to move this a little bit so you guys can read a little better. Goes on. It worked. In a stunning turnaround, Yeltsin, who had begun the campaign in last place, defeated his communist rival in the election's final round by 13 percentage points. Talbot declared that a number of international observers who judged this to be a free and fair election. But Michael Meadowcraft, a Brit who led the election observer team of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, later claimed there had been widespread voter fraud, which he had been pressured to not expose. In Chechnya, which international observers believe contained fewer than 500,000 adults, 1 million people voted. And Yeltsin, despite prosecuting a brutal war in the region, won exactly 70%. They'd been bombed out of existence, and there they were, all supposedly voting for Yeltsin, exclaimed Meadowcraft. It's like what happens in Cameroon. Thomas Graham, who served as the chief political analyst at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow during the campaign, later conceded that Clinton officials knew the election wasn't truly fair. This was a classic case of the ends justifying the means.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was the classic cases with Pablo Escobar when, we were supposed to extradite this guy for crimes against American interests, okay? And the dude was going to get extradited until magically, like the week before his extradition, Parliament down there holds an election in which suddenly 9 out of 10 of the parliamentarians down there are like, "Oh no, we don't want to have an extradition treaty with the United States of America out of reasons of it's diplomacy obviously failed." So I mean, if you're the president, what are you doing? You can either do a land invasion or you send down the special operators. I mean, using the word invasion, the Bay of Pigs. I mean, yeah, sure, Fidel Castro's elections were completely non-legit and not elections. Okay. And so, yeah, we've interfered. The problem with this word is that interference is such a broad topic.
But what I want to ask you, though, because, I mean, again, like I can show you this thing right here. It says, here is a postdoctoral fellow at the Institute for Politics Strategy at Carnegie Mellon University, found that the U.S. attempted to influence the elections of foreign countries as many as 81 times between 46 and 2000.
Well, yeah, of course.
But exactly. Again, this isn't.
I'm curious what his Argentina example is.
Yeah, I don't have it on this.
Oh,
It's a longer piece. I'll have the link so you can read the longer piece. It's
Okay.
just this is the thing. But the reason why I'm saying this because that's not only what's interesting to me here. Because Yang even says he's like, well, Americans kind of know we do this. Why do you think not only did Klobuchar push back in the way she did so aggressively, but then Blitzer and Maddow both went at him. Blitzer, like you said, even kind of phrased the question bizarrely, saying, well, you made this equivalency. And Yang should have said, no, I didn't. And then Rachel Maddow pushed him and said, okay, well, name a country then if you're going to say there was a country. And Yang, for whatever reason, didn't name a country. Don't know why. But why do you think it is that you're seeing these people I mean, again, all we could say is Amy Klobuchar, CNN's Wolf Blitzer's, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow, but others. Why? Because again, this isn't like some secret. I literally Googled for 2 seconds and I pulled up a direct example of America interfering in a Russian election not even 30 years ago. Why do you think they all pushed him back? Why do you think they all wanted him to go on television and restate his position on that? I mean, to me, he even kind of said in the Blitzer thing, like, I literally was just making a point. I was just saying, we both meddle. Maybe you shouldn't meddle with us. Why do you think it became such a big sticking point where Klobuchar pushed back and kind of lied on him? Blitzer kind of repeated the lie, and then Maddow pushed him multiple times for an answer. Why do you think they do that? That's what's interesting to me, because again, we do it. He wasn't wrong. This isn't a fact check video. It's a why is
because Yang is not their guy. We already know
so
the answer to
interested
that.
in pressing him for? I don't know, but this
we
was
know
weird.
the answer to this, Cody, and the answer is this: Yang is not their guy. Okay, he's passed the purity test with Rachel Maddow enough that she likes having him on the show, but kind of like he's the fun boyfriend that you wouldn't take home to mom and dad as the serious a person you might marry. But he's the fun boyfriend you'll fool around with on the weekends because he's got this cool idea that I really, really like. You know what I'm saying? But he's not the one that they're hoping to go to nerd prom with. He's not the establishment DNC nominee that they want to kiss up to and gain favor with and so on and so forth. So they're trying to help out their man, and Yang is not their man. So of course they're grabbing at straws. This is what they do.
Who's Wolf Blitzer's man or woman?
All of CNN. Come on, we've seen all of the exposés. We have seen all of the complaints of everybody that's been on there. We've seen Marianne Williamson complain about CNN versus Fox News, the liberals as she calls it, versus the conservatives, so on and so forth. All of the media outlets are propaganda arms for the DNC establishment or the RNC establishment, barring some talk radio hosts and some rogues out there on Fox News. By and large, when you're watching Fox News, you're watching GOP establishment propaganda. And when you're watching CNN, you're watching DNC establishment propaganda. And the establishment right now is behind Joe Biden still.
But no,
okay?
we're talking about Amy Klobuchar on the debate stage, Wolf Blitzer at CNN, and then Rachel Maddow at MSNBC. I mean, like, I don't understand why would CNN leak.
Well, no, because that's the story that comes out. And of course, Amy Klobuchar is going to grab at straws saying, no, I disagree with him because he's making a moral equivalence between Russia. Really, Andrew Yang should just said, no, I wasn't.
Well, how about this, though? Why are they asking about that? And they're not talking about the big, to me, the headline of the debate is that Andrew Yang was a nobody 7-8 months ago, and Andrew Yang had everybody on the debate stage talking
because this
his
is the same as
platforms.
Kevin Hart.
That's the story of the debate. No, but here's the thing. Again, and then beyond that, why was this Yang's answer to the question when pressed?
Oh, his answer was horrible.
There are a couple in the, let's say in our hemisphere, that I think are relatively
Why beat around the bush?
Well documented historical examples. But I think most Americans realize that we do need to defend our elections against Russian interference, and that has to be the focus and the mission. And that acknowledging that America's done things in the past has nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what stands out to me, what he said at the end of that question right there, which is really weird to me. There seems to be this thing where...
Can you pause for a second just really fast? And can I just say one thing? And then I'll just like shut up and let you say everything you want to say. Just on the heels of him saying, oh, there's a couple in our hemisphere. Can you pull up that graphic again? You know, where she started to ask him, like, look at our hemisphere. Throw a dart at South America.
And that isn't including the last 30 years or so.
Yeah, that's not including the last 30 years. Throw a dart at South America.
How about former countries?
Andrew Yang.
But yeah. Former countries. We rigged elections and to help make former countries.
Look, there is, in Central America, the only reason why you don't see a lot more orange is because the countries are so small. But look, all of Central America and South America is lit up like a Christmas tree. So Andrew Yang, either just say, I wasn't making a moral equivalence. And then when somebody says, oh, well can you name a country? I would literally just say, pick one in South America.
Well, that is what he said.
Just pick a date.
That is figuratively what he said.
Yeah, but he said, well, a couple in our hemisphere. I would have just said, pick a country in South America and I'll tell you what they did. Oh, you want to go talk about Panama with the Sandinistas. You want to talk about Bolivia with Che Guevara. You want to talk about Chile with Pinochet.
But that's what you would have said or should have said. I don't care about that. Why do you think Yang didn't give a specific example? And why do you think there seems to be so much immediate rush from the media and the establishment to say, oh, well, prove it. If you're going to say meddled in elections, prove it. And Yang's kind of looking at him like, are you guys crazy? What do you mean? We obviously do
because
this.
if it bleeds, it leads, and this is what the pathetic sensationalist media does.
This seems to be a sore spot for the establishment for some reason. This notion that America also meddles in elections literally all the time, everywhere. I mean, if you want to look at this thing, and again, I'll post the links.
Well, here's the reason it's a sore spot.
Look at the countries on this list, man. We have the United Kingdom and Italy and Japan. I mean, these aren't
and Iceland. Wait, there's Iceland. They highlighted Iceland. What do we do in Iceland?
Well, my point is, these aren't third world banana republics. Like, we rig elections of first world developed countries we're allies
Well, here's
with.
the reason why it's a sore spot.
Exactly. Why is it a sore spot? And why wouldn't Yang have the backbone to stand up and say, look, we've done it.
Here's the reason why it's a sore spot. The reason why it's a sore spot is because the DNC has depended both for impeachment, for disinformation, and for opposition to Donald Trump on this fake Russiagate story. This idea that Russia interfered on our elections. And if all of a sudden what Russia did, which really boiled down to about $150,000 of Facebook ads, okay, half of them with like Russian characters in them so nobody took them seriously.
That's not real interference, though.
Okay. Yeah, it's not real interference. Yeah. Is if all of a sudden we actually start diving into the history of what countries do to each other during their elections, what Russia did just kind of seems run of the mill. It makes the DNC and their arguments look very, very weak and doesn't make Trump look bad. So they're really worried about, oh no, don't look at what's behind that door. It's the wizard behind the curtain. Right now, people think the wizard behind the curtain is the powerful Wizard of Oz, the powerful Wizard of Putin. And then there's this massive computer center in Russia that is just interfering with elections worldwide, and like the Wizard of Oz is the mighty, mighty, mighty mage of elections. But when all of a sudden you peer behind the curtain and you say, yeah, look, well, we kind of do this crap too. And we did it in 69, we did it in 72, we did it in 81, Boris Yeltsin, Sandinistas, Che Guevara, and if we just start showing how this is what enemies and allies do to each other, then all of a sudden we peer behind the curtain, we see that there's no big wizard there, that's just a silly bearded man who's pulling a bunch of levers, and all of a sudden the fear of Russiagate goes away, and the DNC loses its only tool it's had against Donald Trump for the past, I'd say, 18 months, 2 years. That's why they fear this so much.
It sounds a little crazy to me. I don't know if it's that.
A little.
Yeah, it's kind
Los
of
locos tenemos una virtud, la locura. That means we, the crazy people, have one virtue: craziness.
No, but what I mean though is that like I think there's actually the author of this piece brings up kind of the point that I'm kind of leaning more towards. See if I can find it. It's not basically the idea is that it's kind of what you're saying, but it's less that like we have to keep pushing election interference, because Yang never even said that they don't interfere in our elections. He just said like they do, but we also do elsewhere. What I think is really interesting is because I think that's the question no one wants to answer, which is, if it is so bad that Russia interfered in our elections, is it so bad that we interfere in other countries' elections as well? And I do think that's one of the reasons why they kept going to the well of moral equivalency, because I think to them it just becomes a moral question. Doesn't matter if we do it for morally correct reasons. And I think that's why they wanted Yang to say that as well. Because I think Yang, even though I wouldn't call what he said very, he didn't slam America. He said, we have to let Russia know.
Yang.
Look, we get it. We've tampered with other elections, and you've tampered with our elections. And now it has to stop. That, I think, is what we're seeing here. Andrew Yang called for the end of America interfering in foreign elections, and that is not what the swamp wants to hear. Not even the swamp, but the establishment's like, oh, no, dude, we're going to... Because here's the thing. You're talking about how much money a country spends on Facebook ads? Dude, that's clown interference. You know what real interference is? Real interference is... You start feeding some talking points to a journalist, an anchor, a talking head.
Jimmy Dore talked about this.
Is real interference. Like I said, I think Ben Shapiro said this, but he said, "Tell me what, Young Turks, how do you help Hillary win? By donating to her campaign or covering her favorably?" You know what I mean? Like, if you really want to rig an election, you don't spend money on ads. You find the influencers and you flip them, and that's what I think we do all the time. Every country does it.
Yeah, it's like, who came up with this idea?
But there seems to be. Whenever you bring up something someone does and they get really touchy about it, I always have to believe that like you don't agree with what you're doing, do you? And there almost seems to be this kind of like knee-jerk reaction of like, nope, when we do it, it's morally correct.
But
and
this is you don't understand, Cody. This is the same crap that they're doing. This is the same crap that they're doing with Tulsi Gabbard. And Jimmy Dore talked about, he pulled up all the oracles that show that the CIA has even infiltrated influencers in our own media sphere. Like what bonehead actually, who is the African-American guy?
Jake Paul works for the CIA for sure.
Yeah, Jake Paul works for the CIA. No, but who?
1000%.
Like, who is that African-American talking head on CNN that literally said, oh, no, well, Tulsi's a Russian asset. And then all of a sudden, you've got NPR.
A contributor. That was a contributor.
Okay, yeah, but how do you know that he wasn't greased? A palm wasn't greased by the CIA.
It
by
wasn't
that guy.
Don Lemon. Like it was just somebody they had on.
I get that, but I'm only saying what you just said.
No, yeah.
You literally just said that intelligence communities try and find influencers in order to seed bad ideas and talking points, good ones on behalf of people they like, bad ones on behalf of people they don't like. I'll tell you right now, no American in their right mind.
To flip America, you'd flip Maddow as Russia.
Yeah.
Conspiratorially, that's how you'd get to America. You'd find someone like Rachel Maddow and you'd flip her.
Look, let me finish, okay? There's no American in his right mind that thinks Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian is a Russian asset, okay? Yet CNN does this garbage. And Yang has been a thorn in their side. He's been a thorn in the side of Bernie Sanders because everybody knows as soon as they start arguing UBI versus federal jobs guarantee, Yang wins. He's been a thorn in the side of Biden because he's younger, fresher, hipper, cooler, much more millennial, okay? He's been a thorn in the side of Warren because ever since their exchange where Warren looked doofy, where she's like, oh, I'd have to see the data. He's like, I got the data. Like you're old news, lady. You know what I'm saying? There's literally, Yang is this annoyance because he's the only one that keeps on growing and he refuses to go away. They cannot dismiss him. So as I said in the past 2 podcasts, first they ignore you, then they mock you, then they fight you, then you win. All right? He's already gotten through the ignorance phase where they ignore him. He's already gotten through the mocking phase where they mock you. Now they're starting to fight him. And one of the ways that you fight Tulsi Gabbard is by getting a contributor on CNN to say, oh, she might be a Russian asset because she talked to Assad. You run with stupid punchlines and headlines like, oh, Andrew Yang was making a moral equivalence between Russia. It's purposeful misinterpretation because they don't like him. It's just like George Carlin says. He's not in the club.
Well, check this out. Check out this. It's the verified CNN politics account, okay? I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
It says, Hillary Clinton appears to suggest Russians are grooming Tulsi Gabbard for a third-party run. So that is the kind of crap that is out there. I agree. I don't know, man. It just
like really? Do Americans believe this?
Well, also, I want to get into some more. Let's do.
By the way, Trump's a Russian asset too. Now Tulsi Gabbard
is. Wait, you want to get into the best part? Let's break down the headline. Hillary Clinton appears to, so she didn't, suggest, so perhaps Russians are grooming in quotes Tulsi Gabbard for a third party. It's just a crap headline about a crap story. It's all crap. I don't know. It just stood out to me as really odd the way that really struck a nerve. And he was pushed back. You get Yang for 5 minutes on your show and they're like, defend your position that America meddles in elections more so than like defend your position we're going to be able to pay for UBI. You know what I mean? Like they just like, oh, fine, we can pay for UBI. Fine. But how are you going to explain how we do meddle in elections and that's morally equivalent? And
I'll tell you right now.
Like I said, his answers weren't good, but that is a sore spot for the establishment. And I think
before this election is over, before this primary season is over, someone will suggest that Andrew Yang is a Russian asset. Or maybe not a Russian asset, a communist asset.
They already have. It's already happened multiple times. So.
No, well, they suggested that, no, they didn't say him directly. You're referencing the clip we talked about 3 videos ago, right?
No, I'm talking
about
Russian
bots were spamming
I'm talking about just the following Yang over the months. I don't have one I can pull up, but he's a Chinese communist spy, he's a Russian spy, he's a plant by the Chinese.
I'm talking CNN's going to say it.
Okay, but I mean, the
CNN will have a story.
Already been written. It's already a thing.
Okay, well, I'm referencing CNN specifically.
I don't know why you're obsessed with CNN.
Because literally they're the news network that shows in airports that has the contract for everything because they used to be
not really no
the boring all day all news most trusted name in news, right? I grew up with CNN. I mean, that's literally what it was. Okay,
you're just sore. You're just upset they betrayed you.
How
How dare CNN betray
No, not
my
that
trust.
they betrayed me. No, but so many people still think what CNN reports is news. Like, CNN does not have the knee-jerk reaction that Fox News has. When people watch Fox News, the knee-jerk reaction is, okay, it's news, but I know it's kind of like with a conservative spin, so I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. People still don't have that with CNN. They think CNN is like news. And so when they're fed leftist disinformation, they're not taking it with that grain of salt. When you read that headline, you and I, when it says Hillary Clinton appears to suggest that Russia is grooming Tulsi Gabbard for a third-party run, you and I look at that and we're like, oh yeah, that's just some writer doing clickbait and covering his tracks by saying appears and grooming with no other context. This is a garbage headline. Other people don't see that. They see the red letters of CNN, they trust them, and they think, oh my gosh, we have another Russia? Another Russian agent on our hands? Oh, we can't go vote for her. That's how you smear an anti-war person.
That is literally a straw man. So
that's not a straw. Then why else are they doing it, Cody?
I don't know, just a bad article, dude. I don't care about CNN.
It's just bad.
I'm like you. I don't
not
have
politically motivated.
I don't have some weird mental hiccup on CNN. Like I said, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow did the same thing, and that stuck out as interesting to me. Amy Klobuchar, who has no affiliation to any network, did the same thing. That's what stuck out as interesting to me.
Let's see who agrees with me, who agrees with Cody. Listen to me, Skip. Oh wait, no, I'm Skip. Wait, shoot.
Either way.
Whatever.
Either way.
You know. Let's see who you guys agree with. Is CNN smearing Tulsi with political motivation, or is it just human incompetence?
What are we talking about now? I was talking about Andrew Yang and the way the media.
Yeah, are they continuing the smear with Andrew Yang?
The way they rushed to make him defend his position, that I thought even he kind of was like, I honestly didn't think this was a big deal. Like, we definitely do it. It's a real thing. I don't know why I have to explain myself. Like,
I think they're trying to create ratings too, because conflict is what sells. And so if you can put a guy on his heels, then all of a sudden there's your clip that you can put on CNN.com. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're constantly prodding. It's like, if you're the circus master, do you want to have a bunch of lions just like yawning on stage doing nothing? Or do you want to have them jumping through hoops? And do you want to have them dodging things? And do you want to have fire? They're the circus masters that are constantly trying to prod the animals that the people come pay to see in order to get ratings. So I think some of it's just stupid muckraking. I think some of it's incompetence. I think some of it is politically motivated because they're going to prod the animals they don't like first, hoping that they mess up. And a fourth of it is just pathetic American society that tunes into this crap.
I don't know. I think that's just a little... it seems a little simple to me. I don't know. There's something about the media and the establishment where that's a subject they don't like talking about. Because you'll notice.
Because it pulls the wizard behind the curtain.
You'll notice. Now, what does Amy Klobuchar care about CNN's ratings, dude? I don't think she cares. No. What I think we saw is not one of those people. Klobuchar sort of did. Actually was able, just readily admitted, yeah, we do it as well. Amy Klobuchar kind of saying she doesn't see the moral equivalency, meaning she probably sees the literal equivalency, but morally,
yeah,
like morally, we're different. But I don't know. That's what stood out to me as odd. None of these people actually.
They're all trying to purposely misinterpret. They're all trying to purposefully misinterpret each other.
I get that, but why that way in this situation? I understand
because it's the only thing she had. Amy Klobuchar had no other opportunity to draw a distinction between her and Andrew Yang.
No, but then why did this weird Amy Klobuchar Yang thing stand out so much? Wolf Blitzer is the guy for 5 minutes. He asked him this question.
Because they're desperate to find dirt on Yang. They've got nothing on him.
But is that dirt on Yang? He's right.
They'll make dirt. Don't you get Russiagate? Russiagate is a thing that didn't happen. It's dirt that didn't exist until the Steele dossier was written as opposition research for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I don't care about Russiagate.
And then, it's an example. The media will create dirt out of thin air just for ratings.
But this isn't what's happening here.
What do you mean that's not what's happening?
That wasn't good TV, either of those questions.
Maybe it wasn't good TV to you, but it's got us talking about it, therefore it's good TV.
No, it's good TV. We're talking about it because we follow Andrew Yang, we watch his interviews. Like, that was not really bombastic or sensational. It wasn't good TV. If they wanted to really if you really want to get people talking, there's 5 or 6 other things you can question Yang about. It was really odd to me that this really weird, because again, it wasn't even a pushback. It was kind of like, we're going to make you defend that point. Again, you have to come on my show and say we meddle in elections, and Rachel Maddow's like, tell me a country meddling. And Andrew Yang's like, what? This is ridiculous. Like I said, I Googled for 30 seconds and I found a study that cited 85 in before 2000. Like, I'm sure Andrew Yang's like, are you kidding me? We meddle in literally every election. Like, do you want me to like expose us? We meddle in every election ever. We probably meddled in Brexit. We meddle in everything. Like, what is this stuff? And I think it is really interesting the fact that there was this rush to kind of like claim, well, it's different when we do it, or it's not as bad, or instead of just saying, yes, the United States government meddles. The United States government has assassinated democratically elected leaders across the globe. Like, that isn't news. And I thought it was really weird the media kind of rushed to push him on that.
Look, I'll tell you right now, Shannon, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Everybody does it. The difference is that we are the righteous hand of God. They are not.
Well, that was their position. But it was weird to me. That was the media's and the establishment's position. And they were so quick to like try to like override Andrew Yang and say, nope, you have to admit that we basically we don't meddle because meddle infers poor moral judgment. You know what I mean? It was really interesting to me. I don't know. It just stood out to me as an interesting thing that happened, and I wanted to pull up some instances where we actually have meddled and just take a look into why Andrew Yang answered the questions like that and why he was asked the questions like that. It was really interesting to me.
Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Please comment below. We try and respond to all the comments still. If you have an opinion on this, you can express it through voicemail at 1-833-PSP radio, and you can leave us a voicemail there. Also, make sure that you follow us on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we live stream about all of these issues. You can drop us a comment there, or once we get it working, actually have live calls during our stream as well. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. And if you want to contribute to the channel, make sure you check out the PayPal link that is going to be linked in the description, or go to problemsolverpolitics.com and pick up a hat. We ship those out once a week, and it's a great way to contribute to the show while walking away with a little bit of merch. This is Problem Solver Politics. We will see you in the next video.